Today I'm going to demonstrate two great ways to make oversized furniture legs when all you have available is 3/4 inch thick material. Stick around. So if you need some oversized legs for your upcoming furniture projects and you don't have any kiln-dried 10-quarter white oak laying around, that's a common problem. That sort of material is getting harder and harder to find. It just takes so long to dry that usually people have 1 inch thick or 3/4 inch material. And so both of these techniques you can use just fine with 3/4 inch stock. One is a laminated technique where you actually glue the posts together so it's solid. The other one is a lock miter joint. You use a special router bit at the router table and form those joints. It comes together real nicely. We'll demonstrate both, starting with the laminated technique. The first step in this process is to glue strips of hardwood together. These have been in the clamps for several hours, so we'll pull these out and scrape the glue off. So you can see there's large clamping cauls that flank this assembly. And what we've done is we've glued up leg blanks with 3 strips of lumber. This is pretty rough on these two faces, so this will get rejointed and then planed down closer to finished size. Plane the legs down until they're 2 1/16 inch across this dimension. We'll wind up adding veneers on these two faces that are 1/4 inch thick to start with, but after we plane that down, we'll leave only about 3/32 of an inch thickness for each veneer, bringing our total leg size to 2 1/4 square. And then you can resaw some strips that'll be the veneers for these legs. And you want to make these a little wider than 1/4 inch for now, and you can plane them down to just about 1/4 inch thick. Now, even though these veneers are only going to be about 3/32 thick on the finished product, I've just found it's easier to mill and glue these veneers if you leave them a little thicker to start. One of the best ways to apply the glue is with these mini disposable rollers. They work perfect to get the glue on quick so you can get things clamped up. Then just use a small wooden wedge to lift the leg up and center it across the width of the veneers. And then once you plane the leg to final dimensions, 2 1/4 inches square in this case, you'll hardly be able to see the joint lines at all, especially once you trim the ends and ease the edges. Next up, we'll demonstrate the locking miter technique and how to set up that special bit at the router table. I've got both the Rockler and the Infinity version of this lock miter bit. And here the Infinity gets the edge, and it's simply because of this setup jig. I thought it might be a bit of a gimmick the first time I saw it, but after using it a couple times, I gotta say it really helps you. It holds in place with magnets, and you just slide it up until that little finger projection contacts the underside of the carbide. That'll put you in the right position to align your large hash mark with the center line of your board for bit height adjustments. Quickly square the setup jig to the router table fence, and then adjust the fence forward or back until your center mark aligns with the large vertical hash mark on your setup jig. Again, just make sure that the jig is slid into the upward position. No matter what brand of bit you're using, here's a tip that'll let you cut this joint in 2 passes, which improves cut quality. The idea is you just use strips of 1/4 inch MDF and attach those to your router table fence. This just acts as a spacer and lets you make both the vertical and the horizontal cuts in 2 passes, and you won't believe the difference in cut quality that makes. If you have a split router table fence like this, you do it on both sides. So we're ready to make our horizontal table cuts now, and we're going to route the same profile on both edges of the board. That, as it turns out, is really helpful later when it comes time to glue up your leg post. And then reset the feather boards for the first pass on the vertical cuts. Everything else is unchanged. The bit height, fence position are both the same. We even still have our 1/4 inch spacers installed on the fence. And then for the second cuts, we'll go ahead and remove the spacer strips from the fence. At the same time, we've actually added a 1/4 inch MDF backer board, and that'll help support the knife edge for these second passes. And the second pass of the horizontal cuts will benefit from a little backer board as well. Just use a 1/4 inch MDF, the same size as your workpiece, and press that in place. Just make sure that your feather board still makes good contact with the MDF backer board here. Mine were a little low, so I had to add a couple of washers under the feather board. That quickly solved that problem, and we'll go ahead and make these cuts. And since you took the time to use a backer board to protect that knife edge, the result is a cut with no tear out. And so you just get a really crisp joint that you can then sand over or use a round over bit on, just like you could with a solid post. It's really a combination of a good carbide tip bit as well as taking the extra steps of making the cut in 2 passes and then using that backer board that gives you such a nice crisp edge, no snipe, and no tear out, even in difficult woods like this white oak. And here you can see the benefit of routing the same profile on both sides of the board. This way, when it comes time to assemble the post, you can just clamp it up in one direction. An optional step, depending on the application, is to fill the hollow center with a hardwood core. This post isn't glued up yet, but looking at the long edge formed by the lock miter bit, it's pretty amazing the results you can get. Looks like a solid wood post. Alright guys, there you go. A couple of ideas on how to build up your own oversized legs and posts for various furniture projects. If you've only got 3/4 inch stock laying around in the shop, maybe give one of these techniques a try. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.